Hey guys, today we're performing our expert overview on Weber's second generation SmokeFire pellet grill. Let's get to it. First up, quality. Now the first thing we'll look at is the thickness and construction of the cooking grids. Now when you're looking at a pellet grill, like this one, their cooking grids measured in at 6 millimeters thick. Now for a pellet grill, that's perfectly fine. If you were comparing it against the grids of a charcoal grill or a gas grill, it would seem probably a little wimpy, I would think, because those are just generally beefier. They have a lot more direct flame contact. But again, 6 millimeters for cooking grids on a pellet grill, perfectly fine. Next up on quality, we will cover the ash catching and grease management pull-out drawer that's at the bottom of the grill. Now, first of all, the fact that they have one for a pellet grill is pretty awesome. However, and I didn't have any issues with this, but the Gen 1 model, from what I understand, there were lots of concerns with flare-ups or fires or sparking in the actual ash grease management system pan. I had none of that with Gen 2. I have to assume that it's been completely fixed. I believe there's some sort of baffling now that they did to redirect it. I'm not really sure, but I had no problems, not a single spark, no issues. And also I've read some people thought that maybe there was too much air leakage going through there. Again, I didn't have any problems with that or holding temp or anything. So as far as quality goes, I think that's pretty straight up. The SmokeFire's porcelainized enameled lid came in at 12 gauge. The porcelainized firebox measures in at 16 gauge. And the 304 stainless steel flavorizer bars measure in at 17 gauge. The SmokeFire's lid handle, as well as the accent trim pieces and the side shelf, and of course the flavorizer bars we spoke of earlier, are all made from 304 stainless steel. Now let's have a look at the SmokeFire's performance. Now although I did not do a lot of testing with the first generation model, that wasn't one of my projects, I definitely ran the Generation 2 through tons of testing, low and slow, mid heat, top temperature, the 600, searing steaks, which didn't have any problems. I can tell you that this model that I have tested performed very well. It did low and slow without a hitch. Again, mid temperatures, no problem. What I will say is, at least from the thermocouples that I have, that I place on the cooking grids, there appears to be a little bit of a difference between the probe that reads for the grill and my thermocouples, but even then it was very acceptable and very normal to think that that's what would happen. I just want people to know that, because sometimes people will say, oh, this thing was 100 degrees, it says it was this temperature and it was this temperature. The temperature it's telling you is trying to tell you what the oven's overall temperature is, the average temperature. It is not about, and then I measure the temperature at the grid here and there. It just doesn't work that way. And you wouldn't want it to work that way, I promise you. It works better that it controls itself in that fashion. The furthest that the temperature was off in any place on the grill was 85 degrees, and that was at higher temperatures, and it was only in one spot. That's very acceptable and probably not even noticeable to most. At most cooking things, you would never even notice that difference. Now, a real world example of how I noticed it and how it works. For instance, during my burger test, and for the burger test, we leave the burgers exactly where they are. We don't shuffle them. I will let some stay on longer, possibly in certain areas if they need to, but they will stay in those same areas so that we can see how the grill performs overall. And we did notice, again, that the right front quadrant of the grill is a little hotter, and the steaks came out fine, and the burgers were cooked. I had to take the ones in the front right off a little sooner than the rest of them. That's about it. Another performance feature that I really wanted to check into, because there was a lot of talk again on the forums and things between Gen 1 and Gen 2, was power issues, electrical or power issues of various types. They were all sort of phantom. There wasn't a whole lot of explanation of what people were thinking was happening or not, but there was apparently a lot of issues. So I wanted to make sure that I wasn't having any issues with Gen 2, and I can tell you that I ran every test that I ran, and the whole time on a 40-foot, a very nice, but a 40-foot extension cord, And from the beginning to the end, I never had a single, electrically speaking, if there ever was an issue, I have to assume that there is no issue now at Gen 2. I didn't see any of that. And the final thing that I'd like to cover was a lot more talk also about, so from Gen 1 to Gen 2, Weber's SmokeFire has a fix to the slope of the hopper. Well, people in the forums and various places were talking about, well, but it still doesn't work well, and the pellets bridge and this kind of stuff. And so I take that kind of thing very serious for you guys, and I ran special tests just to look into more about that. And the way it kind of works out is no one's really wrong, but I don't know that it's a problem either, and I'll explain why. If at your higher temperatures, your 425, 450, 500, so now you're grilling burgers, grilling chicken, steaks, whatever, before you ever have to touch your pellets, if they bridge, you're looking at 2 to 2.5 hours at those kind of temperatures. That's a lot of steaks or burgers or whatever else. So in most cases, it won't be, I just don't see it as a problem. With low and slow, which is where it could be a problem, is, at 250 degrees, 8.5 hours without touching a thing, it rocks steady. It has no problem. I've never needed to leave something unattended for more than, I've never left anything for that long unattended, ever. But let's say you did, it's how much more time would you need than that? So if it's an issue, I don't really know how big of an issue it is. And I just want to make sure that I covered that in the performance section as well. Let's have a look at the SmokeFire's features. The feature that sticks out to me the most is the operating system that comes built in, the Weber Connect app that comes with the grill. The grill itself is Wi-Fi and Bluetooth enabled, and the app is powered by the June operating system, which is about as good as it gets when you look at cooking software and apps. The Weber SmokeFire also comes with 2 leave-in internal temperature probes that work flawlessly with the app. Another thing that I consider a feature is that it has a very large grilling surface, as well as a secondary, very large cooking rack up top. And another feature really, especially in the pellet market, is that the bottom cooking grids, or the main cooking area, has direct flame access, and not every pellet grill has that. Matter of fact, that's actually kind of top tier as far as something you're looking for in a pellet grill. I think that's pretty cool, especially since it also does low and slow, as we talked about earlier. To the back of the grill, the SmokeFire comes with a 20-pound capacity pellet hopper. And, like we talked about earlier, whether or not the capacity and the way that it functions is an issue for a certain type of cookout, I didn't really have any issues with it. I don't really see any or foresee any. That's just my take on it. There's also a rear trap door to the back of the pellet hopper to release the pellets that you have in there. If you want to change the flavor or the type or whatever, you're able to pull the little chute, drop them out, close the chute back, reload, and you're good to go. The SmokeFire also comes with a 304 stainless steel side shelf for prep and holding pans and other things like that. And it also, on the front of it, there are 2 hanging knobs for your grilling accessories. Now for a quick recap. In the quality section, the Weber SmokeFire has 304 stainless steel flavorizer bars, accent pieces, as well as the front handle, and the operating system itself, which is involved with the Weber Connect, is powered by the June operating system, and that's top notch. As far as performance goes, the grill itself rocks steady all night long for low and slow. I didn't have any problems at 8.5 hours, never really even having to check it, stayed the same temperature, and that's low and slow, but at the same time, the grill has direct flame access and will get all the way up to 600 degrees. Pretty good performance as far as I'm concerned, especially as far as pellet grills go, not to mention just about any grill. 600, not too bad. As far as features go, it's gonna be kind of hard to wrap these up into a recap because there's quite a few of them, but I'll pick out some of my favorites. Definitely one of my top favorites is the June operating system. I love how that performs and the base to that and how well that is sort of fleshed out. Good stuff. Definitely a lot of good things to come, I would think, with updates and other things for the app and for the grill, the Weber Connect app. Also in the features department, good stuff. The SmokeFire also has a 20-pound capacity pellet hopper, which is nice, as well as the pull-out ash pan grease management system. All solid features. Thank you for watching. I hope that you found our overview on Weber SmokeFire Grill informative, and I hope that you'll check back often to see our latest content. And if you really like us, maybe even hit the subscribe or like button. We really appreciate that. Catch you next time.